In 2011, I designed a sneaker called OBJ Sac 1. It was intended to be a collaboration between myself and my brand and Sarkodie. The name Sac didn't exist back then. I coined it from Sarkodie's name and created a logo featuring his head. We met with Sarkodie's team and presented the idea. Specifically, Sammy Forsen, who was his manager back then, encouraged us to return with a prototype. We did.
Sarkodie enya issue we nyina no ye den papa. Ona oye Ecobank, Sarkodie siw Ecobank. Na Sarkodie siw Ecobank, o siw Ecobank for copyright. Na guy bi so aba out. Ono so so friend Jeremiah Obuobi. Na sa Jeremiah Obuobi no o create edin sack no yan Sarkodie edin Sarkodie de ndo obede pobede one time for the mayo sack edin sack no Jeremiah Obuobi no de bay nanka odeba in the name of creating a brand to support Sarkodie's career and the Sarkodie's brand. Na o create the idea no that edin of free sack ni dim no consult sack no kofu de ma sack no kofu ka de am dia onye prototype no fambra no won hwe oye koi wantini ka bi mfin ono aninde ebi a 2015 wo be fra won dia one de am na wo ye obi anim na oda lawyer bi oye Ghana lawyer bi wo fe ne the Ghana law ono so abache sem the reason why oye Ecobank Sarkodie wo case the reason why a guy no wo case in seven bebre wa hadi na get the live breakdowns message the full in. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms. Yes, Sarkodie is you oye Ecobank. Okay, the last week we hear that video no. Me kind the man I'm gonna be a first person to react to the letters, but me hear overview man go deep. Na Sarkodie was siw Ecobank. Na Sarkodie siw Ecobank no. Ecobank fu no wo promotion bi about scamming. Na scamming no why the Ecobank fu no instead of them kuboko hu sack no fast Sarkodie ni copyright friend look alike. No wo de ne ye oye ade no. Wo de ne ye program, wo de ne ye campaign no. Na waka campaign, what in your campaign no. Na Sarkodie be see one then no. Why there won't go use can promise on any look alike because all na can promise no where then than business no. Jaba don't go use can promise look alike. No for Sarkodie ne dey. You know am tuma Sarkodie is see one. Na na Jeremiah Obuobi by no say wo Sarkodie koto de ne bodwe. Awo Sarkodie hu kwan ego siw or Ecobank fu na wo siw ye yanka o men siw a amemi my idea to the sack me de be me ye mpaboa me ye socks me ye bibia by de ye ntale na ade then ke be support o brand belt na ade na wo na Sarkodie promote dan belt na pa belt na ade na wo nke de be promote o brand o Sarkodie tena brand tena my idea no do ewie na fadi no esda wo na ye now Jeremiah Obuobi is no ntias nti okobisa Sarkodie de Sarkodie na ade na me ye be no how far na me would will use din no what dey one programs na ade na how far Sarkodie ni manager ka che oye Jeremiah Obuobi de oye brand no another design no Sarkodie na oye na ade na guy ni shazor khima kokot nti guy ni case ni mu na guy ma me ka che nde papa de ya nyamaro ko no how di twado monfa ideas answer the about question video the message they will follow yen yan question video ni aba.
What's up, world? My name is Jeremiah Obuobi, artist, product designer, and footwear designer from Tema. In 2011, I designed a sneaker called OBJ Sac 1. It was intended to be a collaboration between myself and my brand and Sarkodie. The name Sac didn't exist back then. I coined it from Sarkodie's name and created a logo featuring his head. We met with Sarkodie's team and presented the idea. Specifically, Sammy Forsen, who was his manager back then, encouraged us to return with a prototype. We did. We spent almost 8 months developing a prototype and tried to reconnect with them, but, to no avail. At the 2012 Rapaholic concert, I was asked to print the same logo I had designed on T-shirts, which were worn at the event. But we never heard from Sarkodie nor his management until 2013, when I discovered that shoes, clothing accessories were being sold under the Sac brand, which was fine. But the same logo that I created and the same Sac name that I coined was used, but my brand name was was nowhere in the picture. It was, completely removed. So I confronted Sammy Forson on BlackBerry. That was the major means of, communication back then. And then Sammy claimed that Sarkodie had designed that himself, which was, funny to me. So I took the issue to the Copyright Office for mediation, as it were, as professionals do. And then I was told during the mediation, after the mediation, I was made to understand that Sarkodie himself made me understand they were going to sort me out. They were going to pay. Eventually, it didn't happen. So I had to forward the matter to court. Now, the process dragged on for 3 years. My claim was for 90,000 Ghana cedis. Sarkodie's side offered to pay 20,000 Ghana cedis. But on the day of negotiation, neither Sarkodie's legal team and he himself and my lawyer were present. Nobody was there. I was the only one that was there, right? Sadly, I haven't seen my lawyer since then. My lawyer has disappeared on the face of the earth for more than 10 years. I've never seen him again. I call him, he never picks up. So, the SARK brand name and the illustrated logos were my creations, even if it was based on Sarkodie's image or name. The products were launched using my concepts without my consent, with no credit and no payment. And therefore, this video is not to, spoil anybody's reputation, but I thought it was interesting for you to know that Sarkodie is suing Ecobank for almost the same reasons, the same copyright infringement he denied me more than 10 years ago. It's interesting to me. I mean, this is food for thought. The reason why I didn't continue with the case when they didn't appear in court and the case was adjourned was my mom asked me not to continue it, so I let it go. But let me know what you think about this. It's interesting how things turn out to be, that sometimes you have to remove the beam from your eyes before you can remove the straw from somebody else's eyes. But let me know what you think about that. Big up one.
Oh, na lawyer be by no say no. All about that case ni muye. It's lawyer no. Oh yeah, the Ghana law. What about that case ni muye? Ghana law or YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or baby I bet me go follow no. Koko share full video no. Ghana law aba hade epebibia aba law how dey follow Ghana law bet law as Ghana law police ni chupo I dey hu dey no. Ghana law aba hade say no. The Sarkodie wo case on the side of Ecobank no. Na ehwe guy no so oye Jonathan Obuobi so a ono so wo case. Nti say guy ni case no come on so Sarkodie to o claiming right copyright infringement fee oye if won wa. Not chede Jeremiah Obuobi so betum aye den we claim right if Sarkodie o. Nsem no why bloody. In Sarkodie the case or the same baby no dey ba.
Sarkodie has sued Ecobank for this. But everyone is going crazy because that is not Sarkodie. What does the law say? This is a legal breakdown. So Ecobank used Sarkodie lookalike to run an anti-fraud campaign stating that you can see something that may look original but is not original. Now, per the alleged documents available on the internet that Sarkodie filed against Ecobank, in his point 1, you see that he has expressly written that Ecobank breached his intellectual property rights by using his image to run their campaign. You and I know that is not Sarkodie. Sarkodie knows that is not him. So why did he do that? Now, to me, this is just a legal smart move and a legal trap. Now, let me explain this to you. This video is not against Ecobank. This is just explaining the legal side of this. Now, Ecobank will be tempted to respond by saying the person we used is not Sarkodie, the person we used is not you, but your lookalike, and that brings them to Sarkodie's strongest point in the B, which is Ecobank breached the protection against unfair competition by using that image. Now, what is unfair competition? Unfair competition is when a company does something that gives them an unfair advantage. You have a company, then you try using a lookalike, my lookalike, because another person's lookalike to run your campaign. You would understand that that person or that lookalike does not have the necessary audience. So while you are using the lookalike, you are having an unfair advantage because you are still riding on the celebrity's influence or audience. So that is the kind of unfair advantage unfair competition is speaking of. Now let's enter into this case. So one of the protection against unfair competition has stated that any practice in the course of a commercial activity that causes or is likely to cause confusion with respect to another person's enterprise. Sarkodie's brand is its enterprise. In particular, the services offered by that enterprise constitute an act of unfair competition. Now, one of the services Sarkodie offers as a brand is allowing companies or other brands to use his image for campaign on the face of the company. All this is arguable. You would realize that using his lookalike brings confusion into the minds of people that is this really Sarkodie or did Sarkodie endorse this brand? So by this, it could be his argument that Ecobank caused confusion by using his lookalike could end up making people think he has endorsed the brand or he has rendered his services to them when in fact he hasn't done that. To the section 2, any act or practice in the course of a commercial activity that damages or is likely to damage the goodwill or reputation of another person's enterprise, Sarkodie's brand, constitutes an unfair competition. Now, if you check the subsection 2, it has said that damaging a person's goodwill or reputation in particular could mean dilution of the goodwill or reputation of a celebrity. And according to the interpretation section of this act, dilution of the goodwill of a celebrity means less lessening the advertisement value of that celebrity. So it could also be his argument that by running that strategic advert, they are lessening his advertisement value as a celebrity and as a brand. Does it really affect his advertisement value? Yes. And when a brand uses a celebrity's lookalike, it means they are getting the celebrity's effect for free. Ask yourself this: if Ecobank had used any random person on the streets lookalike, would they have gained more traffic or audience as this? No. So this is where it reduces its advertisement value as a celebrity. Future brands and companies might say, why would we pay you thousands of cedis when we can use another person that equally looks like you? You see, it don't reduce in value because they will be going for another person rather than him, and he ends up losing more money. This is just a general explanation and not necessarily related to this case. So most of you might not know I'm a brand consultant for law firms and well versed in this area. One of the key points or areas I've always thought is for people to control where their images go. Because brand would want to work with you, brand would want to pay you for your exclusive image because they know you are very popular, your image is not everywhere, and your image is controlled, and this increases the trust power. Sorry I digress, but this is to tell you that do everything within your possible best to protect your image because your image is your brand. Even if this case doesn't go in his favor, he has communicated that that is not him. Now to section 3 of that act, it says misleading the public, but we are not going to enter into this, but it's obvious that this as well could mislead the public. Now this is the best way to escape this case in the future, but this video is only bringing understanding to Sarkodie's alleged suit and not being judgmental or going against any party, because there's been a whole lot of confusion and we had to understand or explain it from a different angle. So as to who would win, we cannot tell now. So this is how to save yourself in case you also want to run this type of campaign. And change this to looks familiar, watch again, and the write-up beneath this we can now add a disclaimer stating that this is not Sarkodie but someone that closely looks like him, therefore looks can be deceiving, same way as documents. So look again, do the necessary checks before you give in. Don't forget, this is the Law Ghana. I'm Yuda Brown. Feel free to reach out to us. Until we meet again, stay safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, I had the message the better word in comment section. Now the way a case in local one can also extra video no word so then Sarkodie abo Jeremiah Obuobi apu ana so there Ecobank fo more there Sarkodie no nye because two cases ni na ya copyright. Na sa Sarkodie wodi ya we hu da awo no ya copyright wodi ya wa na awo edi obi a awo edi ayo obi awo ehu de ni copyright da ni pa ko no ba nipa no obi so ayo obi a awo no ehu de copyright da ko court nte wa de me che the best wa dwen wo comment section ma me share comment section pede mu hu de ye elegant fadam case o how offended I won't face the idea but mu comment section.